Good morning, class 7. So, we were doing chapter number 10, that is respiration in organisms. So, yesterday we have completed reading of the chapter, and in our last to last class we have seen in Digi also respiration, mechanism of respiration and breathing. That is inhalation or exhalation हमने देखा था. ठीक है? Today we will start with cellular respiration. Okay.
We need energy to perform all our activities. Do you know from where we get this energy? We get this energy from the food we eat. Our body produces glucose from food. And then, in each cell, the glucose is broken down to produce energy. This process is called cellular respiration. Let us now see how glucose is broken down during cellular respiration. We know that we inhale oxygen during the breathing process. This oxygen is transmitted to each cell. The cells then use oxygen and break down the glucose to produce energy, carbon dioxide, and water. This type of cellular respiration is called aerobic respiration.
So is it clear to you what happens in aerobic respiration is that glucose combines with oxygen to produce energy, carbon dioxide and water. This is the process of aerobic respiration. And when cellular respiration happens without oxygen,
What happens if there is no oxygen? Will cellular respiration not take place? Even if oxygen is not present, cellular respiration happens. The glucose breaks down to form energy, carbon dioxide, and alcohol. This type of cellular respiration, which takes place in the absence of oxygen, is called anaerobic respiration. Therefore, there are two types of cellular respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration produces more energy when compared with anaerobic respiration. When you overexert your muscles, the cells in your muscles do not receive sufficient oxygen. At such times, the cells continue to respire anaerobically. This leads to cramps. In such situations, you need to take some rest. During this time, the cells collect sufficient oxygen and respire aerobically. After this, the cramps gradually disappear. Do animal and plant cells respire in the same way as human cells? Animal cells respire in the same way as human cells. In plants, glucose is created during a process called photosynthesis. And during cellular respiration, glucose is broken down to produce energy. Let us do a quick recap. Breathing includes inhaling oxygen, and cellular respiration is the process of producing energy from glucose. The cellular respiration that occurs with oxygen is known as aerobic respiration, and the cellular respiration that occurs without oxygen is known as anaerobic respiration.
So class, this was about aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Then comes breathing in animals.
In 1774, Joseph Priestley, a British natural philosopher, conducted a set of experiments. He kept a live mouse in an airtight bell jar. The mouse died in a few hours. But when he repeated the same experiment with a plant inside the jar, the mouse survived. Why do you think the mouse in jar A died, whereas the one in jar B survived?
See, what was done, two mice were kept in two different jars, जिसमें एक में no plant was kept and in second one a plant was kept. What we see, in the jar A, the mouse died, but in jar B, the mouse was alive. What is the reason behind this?
The mouse in jar A died owing to lack of oxygen, whereas the one in jar B survived because of the oxygen given out by the plant during photosynthesis. All living beings, including plants, breathe. They all respire to take in oxygen, which can break down food to release energy. Like other larger land animals, we use lungs to breathe. But do all animals have lungs as their respiratory organs? No, not all animals respire through lungs. They have different breathing mechanisms. Let's learn about breathing in different animals. How do insects breathe? Insects and some invertebrates breathe through a series of small pores arranged on the sides of their body, known as spiracles.
See, these are the small pores that are arranged on the side of the bodies of insects. These are known as spiracles.
Spiracles open into a series of tubes called tracheae, which facilitate gaseous exchange. Tracheal tubes carry oxygen-rich air from the spiracles to the body tissues. Cells take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide into the tracheal tubes. The tracheae then expel carbon dioxide-rich air through the spiracles.
See, you can see here that from spiracles then to tracheal tubes then body cells. इस तरह से movement होता है ऑक्सीजन और कार्बन
This type
डाइऑक्साइड
of
का,
breathing
कार्बन
is
डाइऑक्साइड
called
का then
tracheal breathing.
back from the same.
The amount of inspired oxygen is limited in such a system. This may be the reason why insects don't grow to large sizes. Have you ever observed the skin of an earthworm closely? The skin of an earthworm is always slimy and moist. The earthworm breathes through this moist skin. Gases are able to dissolve easily if the surface is moist. The skin of such animals is richly supplied with blood, which carries oxygen to the body tissue and brings carbon dioxide to the skin. In many amphibians, such as frogs, salamanders, and newts, exchange of gases takes place through the skin in addition to the lungs. What makes this drink fizzy? The fizz fountain is due to carbon dioxide gas that comes out when you shake the bottle. This gas is dissolved in the drink. This shows that liquids can have dissolved gases. In the same way, natural water bodies such as lakes, rivers and oceans have oxygen and carbon dioxide gases in dissolved forms. The human body is not adapted to take in the dissolved oxygen in this form. This is why divers carry oxygen cylinders with masks when they go underwater. But aquatic animals such as young tadpoles, fish, sharks and prawns can breathe underwater. They can do this due to the presence of special organs called the gills. When a fish opens and closes its mouth, it is actually pumping water through the gills. Gills are skin projections and are made up of many thin thread-like structures called filaments. These are richly supplied with blood vessels. As the water moves over the gill filaments, blood from these vessels absorbs oxygen dissolved in water and releases carbon dioxide into it. Whales and dolphins live in water, but they are mammals and breathe using lungs. They come to the surface of water and take air through a hole situated on top of their heads, called a blowhole.
लंग्स में रेप्टाइल्स, बर्ड्स और मैमल्स यूज करते हैं फॉर ब्रीदिंग. ट्रैकियल ट्यूब्स आर यूज्ड बाय इंसेक्ट्स एंड सम इनवर्टिब्रेट्स फॉर ब्रीदिंग. Skin is used by earthworm, leeches and amphibians, and gills are used by most of the aquatic animals. Then comes breathing in plants.
During hot summer days, we enjoy sitting under the shade of trees. But why is it not advisable to rest under a tree during the night time?
See, why is it not advisable to rest under a tree during night time?
No, this is not a fictitious horror story. It is about a scientific fact. The reason behind this advice is that plants are giving out only carbon dioxide during the night.
So what do plants do? Plants do carbon dioxide. During night, the plants give out carbon dioxide.
We know green plants photosynthesize and give out oxygen. But this process can occur only during daytime, in the presence of light. So, where is this carbon dioxide coming from? We breathe all our lives. We do so to take in oxygen-rich air and release carbon dioxide-rich air. Do plants breathe the same way as we do? Let us see two demonstrations to find out if plants breathe out carbon dioxide and breathe in oxygen. In the first demonstration, we have covered a plant and kept it in the dark to ensure that the plant is not photosynthesizing and there is no air exchange happening with the outside. A tube is connected from the jar containing the plant to another jar containing clear lime water. What do we observe after some time? The lime water turns milky. This shows that the plant is releasing carbon dioxide.
Is it clear? Plant releases carbon dioxide. That is why the lime water has turned.
The second demonstration also uses a plant kept in the dark. The covered plant in this case is kept in a glass trough full of water. Potassium hydroxide crystals are placed near the plants to absorb any carbon dioxide present or released in the jar. What do we observe after some time in this case? The water level rises in the glass trough. This happens because some gas is being used up by the plant, so that an empty space is created. Since there is no carbon dioxide inside, we conclude that the plant has absorbed oxygen. These activities show that plants also breathe by taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. But why do plants need oxygen? Like animals, plants need oxygen to break down their food and release energy.
So why do plants need oxygen? Plants need like animals, plants need oxygen to break down their food into energy. ठीक है? उनको एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, तो इसलिए प्लांट्स क्या करते हैं? ऑक्सीजन उनको चाहिए होती है फूड को ब्रेक डाउन करने में एंड रिलीज एनर्जी.
A plant respires even during daytime, but it is difficult to demonstrate because at this time the
So class, this was about the respiration mechanism that takes place in animals and plants. So we'll do the rest of the keywords. We are starting with keywords. Yesterday we have done up to cellular respiration. उसके बाद हम start करेंगे diaphragm से. giving out of air rich in carbon dioxide, the giving out of air rich in carbon dioxide is known as Gills are well supplied with blood vessels for exchange of gases. For exchange of gases. Gills are projections of the skin. They help fishes to use oxygen dissolved in water. Gills are well supplied with blood vessels for exchange of gases. तो क्लास नोट डाउन द आंसर्स. डायाफ्रैगम, एक्सलेशन, इनहलेशन, गिल्स. तो ये सब आप अपनी नोटबुक्स में लिख लेना. एंड दैट इज़ इट फॉर टुडे. थैंक यू.